So I relate a lot to his song. Besides the third verse, we'll get to that. But um, I've matured in the time span of relating to this more, and I still relate to it. Don't get me wrong, but I have a more level-headed, mature, or uh like idea of what the song actually how to fix your head with what he's talking about in the song. So like it's 100% beef, and let's dig right into the underground music. So this instrumental sounds just straight up um empty. But also the it sounds like a clock ticking, and this is some stuff that happened in his past. So that's a nice little touch there that you have a little clock there. Um, Clock. Yes, I made sure I said that right. I wasn't trying to assault a dude. That. Yeah. Anyway. So this is like. I don't really know how to describe the beat. It just seems like muddy or muffled. Like it's just like some memories that you stored in your brain that you didn't want to think about, and you're so traumatized you didn't really think of them all until later. I think like that's kind of the feeling that he's getting into this with. um but that's just a guess. That's kind of what happens, like when, like, I'm sure it happened to all of us. It happened to me before. There's been memories I couldn't even remember because I was so traumatized they happened, that I ended up like learning, hey, those weren't just, like a dream or just my imaginations. That actually happened. So it's crazy.
Try to focus hard on my schoolwork. Why is it so hard just to do work? All the other kids seem to get it, get each other, but the rules that they all follow never caught me as a number.
So this definitely relates to me with my autism, because someone that's autistic, you don't completely feel like you fit in. You feel like you're bad with small talk. Like autistic people are bad with small talk and just social cues. So it's like really hard to connect with other people. But also, he mentioned schoolwork there, and I relate to that a lot because sometimes it's hard for me to do uh, work at my work. Um, Back when I was a kid, though, I really struggled doing my homework too. I would sit at a desk in the living room on the couch, and I just watch cartoons all day. That was like the only time I got to take a break from my homework, because my mom said you gotta sit there until you're done with the homework. So guess what? I sat there like until, like, when I got home around 4 to 9. Like it just took so long to do homework. So I relate a lot to that. It's just, and it's like I have ADD and attentive, but also autism is, if so both of those is like, number one, autism gets you stuck in things you love, and then the ADD and attentive makes you totally not want to do the things that you don't like to the extreme. And then with autism, it's the same way, kind of. Not kind of. It is the same way. So it's just it was awful. So he talked about, um, everyone getting each other, it's just actually when I was a kid, I thought everyone hated each other because I took everyone literally. So like when kids call each other little names just to tease and kid and like just have fun, I thought they actually generally hated each other, and I thought I was actually the mature one. That's like, okay, why are people doing this like that? So like when kids would kid around with me, it just like turned into bullying because I would react badly to it, and then they just keep going and keep going, and because they thought it was funny, and that went from kidding around to bullying. So, also, yeah. So, a lot of social norms, autistic people don't really comprehend. So, like, I would just like literally do things out of the norm, like I just, number one, I'd cry in class, which is, that. But also, I would just, I don't know, in fourth grade, there's this little pillow that I was obsessed with. It was a smiley pillow, and I don't know. It's just hard to explain because a lot of things I did were probably a little off, but they seem normal to me. Even today, I'm sure I do things that are a little off. But one thing, there's Cookie Monster up there from Sesame Street. My dad bought it for me for some reason, so I just put it up there. I mean, he put it up there, and I just kept it there. I don't know why I kept it there, but just seems normal. Because just I've been like this for so long, so you know. Also, rules could be, what you want to be when you grow up. You got asked that as a kid. I never was given that. I no, I was never given an answer to myself. Like I never knew what I wanted to be. Like I guess no, I wanted to be a garbage man for some reason. I don't know. I was weird. But no, generally, like, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. And, like, so many people knew what they wanted to do. And, like even at a younger age, they at least had an idea what they wanted to do. I didn't. I still don't. Or maybe I'm just overthinking this. Maybe they didn't actually know what they wanted to do. But at least they gave, like, an actual answer. I'd be like, oh, I want to be... I want to be in the NBA. I wanted to be in the National Basketball Association. So that's just something like like he said, it never called me as a number. I never wanted to be normal. Sometimes, when I did it, it was like, I wouldn't say too late, but I'd say I'd be behind on everyone. Like when I realized, hey, this isn't gonna happen. I'm already behind. Also, I wanted to be an inventor because I watched Robots, the movie. That didn't last too long. The thing about work though is like I get distracted easily with stuff, and when I get distracted, it's hard for me to. I don't know. It's hard for me to stay on task constantly. I need to joke around or I get sidetracked. That's just, it just happens. And, especially when there's other people there, at work. And then at school, I had to have side conversations, even if I was done with everything. So, yeah, that's the type of student I was. I was disrupting, either crying, making jokes, or just talking in class. Teachers loved me. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Try to hide another blunder, go to sleep but never slumber, turn into a clown so when they laugh I can recover.
I was the class clown, but when I was having an off day and crying and actually upset, some people didn't take me seriously because they were so used to me joking around that when I was serious, no one understood it. So either that or just no one did anything to help me until like fourth grade. The teacher finally gave me a recommendation to a therapist, but no one did anything. They just let the behavior continue. Because then I'd go home and I'd act perfectly normal. So my mom had no idea what was going on for so long.
But I wonder if the doctor is correct that I am damaged, or my parents are correct in saying therapy's a bandage.
I can't even imagine what it was like to go through a household that doesn't believe in therapy. That would have been awful. I can't even imagine. At least my mom got me the help that I needed, like, and believed in, like, or at least just tried it in the beginning, and she really, really got into it and, like, helped with a lot of stuff. But that's crazy. I can't even imagine if, like, you're getting help and then the people around you just don't believe in it. Actually, kind of how it feels to be asexual, but this is something that's not quite the same thing. So
what is the root of the issue? Nose is running, so why skip the tissue? I wanna go ahead and treat the disease, but the symptoms are more than my heart can appease.
So that's an underrated line I haven't thought of before. Like, when you're a kid and you're going through so much inner turmoil, like I did and like Skeem did, we don't know where to start. We don't know what to, like, I got therapy, but the thing about that is, it's just, I was too young to, like, actually work on the things that, I was being taught at therapy. And also, I didn't know what the root of the issue was. They gave me generalized anxiety disorder or something different, that it was called back then. Now, I probably still have generalized anxiety disorder, but honestly, with my autism, it's the social anxiety that comes from having autism, and that affects me more than anything. So maybe it's just that, but I don't want to discredit what I was diagnosed with. Also, I was diagnosed with it, so, it's, I probably have that too. Yeah, it's one of those things. People do get misdiagnosed, but I definitely have anxiety. Just explaining this by itself probably shows you I have generalized anxiety disorder. Or maybe it's a social anxiety. I don't know. Maybe that part was a generalized anxiety disorder. Anyway.
Starting up chaos, so attention will follow. Cause if I behave normal, I'm ignored and feel hollow.
Okay, so there's a coworker I like, and I'm getting better with this, but I would actually get physically upset and, like, jealous if I didn't get to talk to someone and others did, or others hugged her and I. It was rough. It was rough. It's getting better now. The session is dying down. I still like her, of course, but just the session is dying down. But that's kind of how I behave. I kind of joke. I don't know how to small talk sometimes, so I joke, even if it's, like, really lame and just annoying. Annoying dad joke or just something really stupid. It just, just to get her attention. And I'm learning that I'm an extrovert. I had to force myself to be an introvert for a lot of my life. I literally have an album when it's older that called The Lonely Introvert. But honestly, I feel like I'm more of an extrovert than anything, or at least an ambivert. But when you like someone, you want to constantly talk to them. So when I wasn't able to talk to her, it felt awful. But he's talking more in general, like with everybody. He just it's I mean I kind of feel like that too. Just I'm an attention seeker. Like I don't cause problems, but I just draw the attention to myself. Okay, this is the best way to describe it. When I was a kid, I don't do as nearly as much anymore, but when I was a kid, I would say the most messed up things just to get people's attention. Like, I'd think of the most messed up joke or messed up thing to say so people would stop and listen to me. Just for the attention. It's, like I said, I'd still do that to an extent. But I try not to, because obviously you don't want to say something messed up, but it was just a bad habit I got into. Like, I literally had no social skills, so what I did was say these messed up things or jokes just so I'd get people's attention in like a little small crowd that they're talking about something else. I didn't want to talk about that. Number one, I didn't want to, or maybe even know how to talk about that situation. So I created my own situation. Yeah. Yep. Starting up chaos, so I kind of relate with it that way.
Who I am inside has no empathy for them. I keep a gun up to my head in case I snap upon a whim.
Okay, that part gave me goosebumps. So it's like, I can't even imagine what it was like to constantly have like a gun up to your head, hoping you would end your life or get the courage to. I don't know how often that happened as a kid. Let me repeat that. As a kid, it's awful. I wasn't exposed to that. I had a really sheltered childhood. So I didn't know what suicide was. So I'm just glad Skeem's still here today. But anyway.
He's broken, watch him joking, never to recover from the words he's spoken.
That's a great way to put social anxiety. We constantly, like, as autistic people, we constantly regrets what we say, because if you're reading verbal cues wrong, we say things, and if we read their verbal cues wrong, we think we upset them, or we said something wrong that we regret because of that, or maybe just stuff we regret in general, because autistic people tend to have no filter. So we just say whatever comes to our minds, and we just either regret it or overthink something we shouldn't regret. But also never recover. He's playing off of joking, so when we tell a joke and we feel like we went too far or with it, or just, when someone laughs, like going back to not feeling hollow and making people laugh, like, that was sometimes is awful too, because if you make deprecating humor and you make somebody laugh, you feel like they're laughing at you. If if you're in that type of mood, with self-deprecating humor, so it's awful. But at the same time, you're trying to joke through your pain, so it's just a whole ball of wax. It really is.
Don't leave him alone, he's cancer. Showing all the red flags without any answers.
So that's a good way of putting how I felt with my coworker. Don't leave him alone, he's cancer. Like, give him attention, give him the, you know, it's just, sometimes I get alone with my thoughts if I don't talk to somebody. So while I'm not able to talk to anyone, I'm going through a lot in my own head. And, like, I'm just, sometimes I want to deal with it, sometimes I don't. But I just, you know, I'm trying more and more. I think it's more often I do try to deal with it more. I'm trying to talk through with my coworkers when I'm upset, especially that one that, like, so they understand what I'm going through. But recently, I've actually been able to see, you know, pretty much perfectly what someone without autism feels, and I felt so connected, and I felt like one of them. All the jokes I understood, and, you know, but on bad days, it's just like I can't read any of it. So it's like I think I need a good night rest, or something. Today I was able to read stuff. I wasn't able to really enjoy it though. I knew when they were joking, but it's still, it didn't click to make me laugh as much because I'm just tired. So anyway, of course I've had good days before, but that day I legitimately felt like a normal person. So it was really nice to feel like that for once. Feel like you're not, you know, just an outcast or whatever. I think it was 2 days in a row, even. So that's good.
Everyone's concerned for my health. Well, not for me, but for their personal wealth.
He's talking about therapy. So, anyway. Plus, that's kind of a negative way to look at it. But when he comes from a family that's literally saying it's a bandage, then I don't blame him for thinking that way. Well, it's a lot understandable. I hope he doesn't. I don't think he thinks like this anymore. This is once upon a. I don't like to say that word against people. This is not very nice, but you know what I mean. You guys, if you're watching this, you probably know all about Skeem and stuff like that. So
I scream a lot and chase my brother with a knife. I black out, but when I see there's still no light.
that is rage. Like, I rarely, like, I don't know if I ever blacked out ever, but when, like, some people get really, really mad, I mean, completely enraged. I'm talking, like, they will just black out and, like, just, like, act out. And then it's like completely out of their control. I think that's how it happens. I don't know 100% because I don't go through that. Like I said, I'm sorry that you got so mad that you chased your brother with a knife. That you got so mad at him and the world. Anyway, we all go through something, so I'm not. It's like it's. Yeah, that's.
I really wish I was like everybody else. It's all my fault, I caused these problems for myself.
So that's bad self-talk right there. Blaming autism and mental health on yourself for not being normal. That's one thing that I used to do. I mean, it's easy to blame myself and say I hate myself and stuff like that. It still happens. It's something I'm still going to go through, but I'm a lot better to know, like, hey, this is not my fault. but this is probably before Skeem got diagnosed with anything, or 100% knew about it. So he's just blaming it on himself, and that's like the worst thing. Like autistic people getting blamed that we can't do something that non-neurotypical people can do. It's not fair to us. It's not fair because we literally have a disability, and it's like, so like, why would you expect someone that has autism to just be perfectly normal, just like somebody else, and able to do everything they do without any of the troubles that autistic people go through? It's not realistic, and it's like, I don't mean to be a downer. Autistic people can go far in life, you know. I don't know for myself because I have circumstances I don't really want to get into right now, but you know, every case is different, so you never know, you know. Just like there's a spectrum to it. There's a spectrum. You could be right there with normal people, or you could be wearing diapers. Or it could be in between, like me, or I'm just working part-time, and you know. But anyway,
I keep staring at the dirt inside my room, wonder when I'll be the dust of other people's gloom.
that's another dark line. Like thinking like when I want to die, it's I don't mean, it's crazy to go through that. That's what I was trying to say. I'm not like, because I hate it when people call other people crazy. You know, that's not what I meant when I was gonna say crazy. I said that's crazy that he's going through that, not that's crazy. You know, he's not crazy. You know, he was just broken, like he said. There's a difference from saying that's crazy and he's crazy. Anyway, I think I'm overthinking it.
Troubled child, daily it's not coming mild. Constantly reminded I'm a special kind of file.
I can't even imagine, because I've heard that, you know, I'm just assuming that Skeem came from a really religious background. People that were parents that were really strict. So they probably saw all his acting out as misbehaving, which, to be fair, mine, they thought it was too, for me, but to a whole nother level. When even he got the diagnoses or whatever, the therapy, they are still thinking like therapy's the bandage, and I'm sure they still thought, oh, you're just acting out, you know. So anyway,
Constantly reminded I'm a special kind of file. First I tried to denial, but the evidence still piles. Every person that I meet convicts me guilty without trial. I want to be accepted and I care what people think. I hate that I'm rejected, washing tears in dirty sinks, but still I'm keeping silent as I'm pushed beyond the brink. Hopeless, but for all this turn to things I rarely speak.
so especially when you're a kid, you have trouble opening up, and I just remember that so much. I just felt alone with a lot of stuff. I didn't feel normal. Even like when I was real little, like I said, like 4th grade-ish and stuff, I couldn't even put my finger on it, like I just, because I probably assumed everyone thought like this, but not everyone was crying in class. Not everyone had a psychologist in 4th grade. Not everyone's getting a generalized anxiety disorder, a diagnosis at like a 10, 11-year-old. Oh, you know, maybe even 9 or 10. I don't even know. I don't even know. Well, comment down below if you really care. Like, it's crazy just thinking about that. So this part, I'm gonna try to be 100% respectful. I don't I mean, I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I'm just trying to. I never struggled with what We Scheme is gonna talk about with being molested as a kid.
Flashback to some years before, I was still a mess, knocking on hell's door. But
I like how the music changes. Like it stays kind of in purgatory with the music before it, with the regular music, and then it changes when it gets there.
But my family didn't feel me like they do today. This is the part of the story that I barely say. A darkened past, it's the first foray into the depths of the quakes of my mind's dismay. I guess the only thing that I could do was say what happened once upon a loser when we were alone that day. They tell you to never trust a stranger, but the people that you know should not present a danger. An adult touching a child is sure to cause some...
An adult touching a child, so that's even worse. Like, that goes without saying. Like, I'm sorry, We Scheme. Especially this seemed like a family friend, or like a near, either family member or family friend. That's usually, like, statistically, what I've heard, that's what happens when someone is close to you in the family, like a distant relative or something. It's just, I don't know, I guess they feel like if they do it and get away with it, they won't get the repercussions because it's a family or something. I don't know.
Anger, but the counselor I told said it was I who wavered. Just a decade older, so I must have liked it. Even though I said no, my curiosity spiked it. She was pretty, so if anything, then I had planned it. A troublesome child in need of reprimanding. Thanks for the therapy and understanding.
He's saying thanks for the therapy and understanding. Like, that's sarcastic, of course. And having a therapist that said that, a victim being abused sexually, that he liked it and he's the one who, it was his fault. He planned it, because there's a huge double standard. I don't even know if it's still this bad to this day. It was probably a lot worse back then. I think it's getting better, but I'm sure it still exists. I don't know. I'm not an expert at this subject. I'm just hoping it's gotten better, because an actual therapist told him this stuff, which is ridiculous. That, guys, for some reason, the stereotype is guys cannot be molested, guys cannot be sexually assaulted, or raped or whatever. It makes no sense. It's like, just because, like, there's a stereotype of guys that we are sexual, really messed up. And I'm sorry that happened to you, We Scheme, and I'm sorry to everyone that has to deal with that. But then this hook, wow, he sings, and it's just, you just hear his pain.
He's broken, watch him choking, never to recover from the words he's spoken. Don't leave him alone, he's cancer, showing all the red flags without any answers.
And I like how this ends. Like, with the static and the really loud like that, like that was probably the feeling of how he was feeling at the time, or just remembering this or something. um it was a really strong, like, um just the pain, the darkness, I'd say, to everything. um it's a nice touch. But anyway, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. I really, really love this song. But also, if you want to check this song out by itself, I'm going to leave a link into the description for you. Go subscribe to Skeem and support him. He's for the underdogs. He's for the outsiders. He's for the people with mental health. He's for people with autism. It's amazing. It's truly amazing, and he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's not always like, oh yeah, oh, everything's gonna be a-okay, because sometimes you don't feel like that, so you're not gonna listen to that. And he doesn't make music like that anyway. And I'll see you when you watch me again, metaphorically.